And all right, welcome to NASCAR Catch-up, everyone. I'm your host Sean Irvin, delivering you the up-to-date news in the NASCAR world. And for those of you who've been on with me since my sophomore year, we've done Wednesdays, I think Thursday and Friday, and now we're on the Tuesday slot. So usually I'd have a catchy name to complement the podcast, but while I figure out an idea on what to name the show, for now it'll just be called NASCAR Catch Up, and I'll be going over the summer drama and the middle of the playoffs drama. As unfortunately we've had a little bit of a late start, but you got to work with what you can get. And yeah, we'll cut right into the summer. So last we left off, it was past Kansas, and we were going into the Goodyear 400, the throwback race at Darlington. That was won by William Byron. My boy Willie B has been on a tear lately in the NASCAR world, and I said that every year I always go to at least one race. 2021 was Charlotte, 2022 was New Hampshire, and this year I went back to Charlotte for the Coke 600. I remember watching on TV last year that the Coke 600 was regarded as the best race of the year. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to miss it. And it wasn't anything like 2022, but it delivered a really good racing product. And I think I've experienced real true pain as a NASCAR fan when William Byron was leading with 30 to go, and then Ryan Blaney ended up running away with the win. It was really unfortunate, but it was really good to see my driver lead for almost all the race. And I think I got my money's worth out of it. And I left with a really positive experience. And some of the big players over this summer was drivers such as Chris Buescher, Martin Truex Jr. has been returning to form since his 2022 slump, and Shane Van Gisbergen, the I believe mid 30-year-old from New Zealand, absolutely shocked the NASCAR world. That's at the Chicago Street Course. He won on debut. He dominated the race. He was fastest in practice, qualified third, and dominated the race, having a clawed out of Justin Haley and Chase Elliott's hand. What would have been a disaster race for Chicago with rain and daylight and the Xfinity race having to be cut short and poor drainage issues for the street ended up being a huge success for NASCAR and obviously a huge win for the body and Shane Van Gisbergen. And bringing up with Chris Buescher, in the last 5 races of the regular season, he won 3 of them. He won Richmond, Michigan, and Daytona, all on his own. It's his first multi-win season ever, and Richmond was his first win since Bristol in 2022. And for the newer people that watch this, I have a system of how I determine if a driver is talented. It's that A, they're consistent, and B, if they're in the right equipment, they can go out there and dominate a race. They don't have to win it at first, but they can go out there and lead a ton of laps, dominate a race, and well, at least win a race. And that's how I will tell driver talent. And another big player that unfortunately did slump off was Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell was on has been consistently getting better and better in the next gen era. It started off in 2021 with his win at the Daytona 500, but it's been forward momentum since then where it's no surprise that they've been scoring in the top 10 and become an upper midfield team. And even Todd Gilliland, who originally was going to be cut from a full-time season and was going to have Zane Smith take over his rides, he has re-signed along with Dowell for full-time rides in 2024 and 2025 and has proven that yeah, I didn't deserve to get moved down to part-time. I deserve to be full-time, and I think that's really great to see out of Front Row that they're going to give one of their younger guys another shot at a full-time ride. And yeah, that's really it for the summer months. Oh yeah, McDowell did win at the Indianapolis road course and won his way into the playoffs on a non super speedway track, and a track that usually requires a lot of talents like Indianapolis for the road course. But who knows? The road course could be here next year. It can't. But right now, the debate for the oval versus the road course has been heating up since 2020. And yeah, I personally hope we go back to the oval. I know there wasn't a lot of passing, but if F1 can race in Monaco, I think NASCAR can race at Indianapolis, and hopefully the oval package works. I know they were doing some testing, but we didn't get much back from the results about what tire compounds worked and what cars were able to pass. So yeah, moving on from that, we're gonna go into the playoffs. So the playoffs were mostly quiet. Round of 16, the first driver to win was Kyle Larson, getting a Southern 500 redemption. They called him the bridesmaid of the NASCAR world for the longest time, and that was because of all the wins that he almost won at but couldn't. So Michigan was one. Not Daytona. Oh yeah, it was mostly just Michigan and Darlington that were the ones that he wanted to scratch off his list. Since Larson fought for Southern 500s in the past, but 2021 he was so close, but nearly wrecked his car to the finish, and I think he just fell off a lot in 2022. And yeah, Larson Southern 500 redemption. Round of 16. Second race was Tyler Reddick scoring his second win of the season. He won earlier this year at Coda to lock himself into the round of 12. In Bristol, Denny Hamlin won the Bristol night race for I think the first time in it might be his first or second win. I'm not too sure, but he was able to advance. He already was going to advance to the round of 12 regardless, but the win that he earned at Bristol was able to extend his lead on points in. And the first drivers to get eliminated from the round of 16 were Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Joey Logano. I remember I said last year that Larson had a pretty abysmal and mediocre at best title offense, but if I thought I had seen worse, I was wrong. Comparing Joey Logano's title defense to Kyle Larson's, it's like comparing the Dallas Cowboys to the New York Giants. There was just absolutely no fight in terms of Logano's racecraft during the playoffs. He ran mid-pack for two of the races and crashed out of the last one and pretty much saved Martin Truex Jr. from getting knocked down the round of 16 as well. He won the regular season, Truex, but almost got eliminated in the first round. It would have been shocking that for the first time in playoff history, we saw a driver who won the regular season standings, who was at the top of the charts, get bumped all the way down to the bottom and eliminated. That would have been absolutely shocking for not just fans, not just for me, but for the playoff system as a whole. That the guy that had won the regular season standings on terms of points was knocked out and wasn't even fighting for a title a race or two later. But yeah, one of the more bigger things for hype in terms of NASCAR this week is that we're still waiting on the schedule getting posted. It will be almost October and still nothing. We know that here's what we know so far. We know the Daytona 500 and the season finale 500, those have confirmed dates. We have Bristol is going to be losing its dirt race, so Bristol will not be having a dirt race next year. It will have two concrete races, and that's something a lot of fans were egging on for. And we still don't have a confirmed date for the NASCAR schedule to come out once again. NASCAR is going to announce soon. There's been leaks from multiple sources within the NASCAR gaming world that Motorsport Games will be losing its license for exclusivity in the NASCAR racing game sphere. It will be sold to other developers besides MSG, and MSG just has been a really controversial game producer for NASCAR. They worked with 704 Games to create NASCAR Heat 5, which was a pretty decent game. I played a lot myself, but it didn't live up to the same craft that the EA NASCAR games lived in, and I think that it's pretty good that people were vocal and telling NASCAR, "Hey, these guys are not reliable. These guys have created poor products behind behind time schedules and have just not delivered a perfect game." I think that's good that NASCAR is listening to its fans now and have begun to question its relationship with motorsport games, and hopefully we get an announcement about maybe not a new NASCAR game, but I'd rather have no NASCAR game for 24 and have a really good one in 2025 than to just have the same thing pumped year after year after year after year. And speaking of Heat 5, the next gen DLC released for the console, I know it's a little bit irrelevant, but I'm trying to fill it with whatever I can before hopefully the schedule comes out either next week or really soon. But that's one of the things I'm mostly looking forward to. William Byron has won at Texas. I'm really happy about that. I was really sick Tuesday, not Tuesday. I was really sick Sunday when it aired on Texas, but I did see the final parts of the race since I mostly snapped out of it and was able to stay awake for most of it. Texas, which was notorious for having a bad racing product, not a lot of passing, was actually a really fun race to watch this weekend, especially in the final 50 laps or so, where Wallace and Larson were fighting, and Larson ended up wrecking into the wall. And yeah, William Byron won it, and I'm really happy about that. So he will be in the round of 8, being able to fight for a championship. I originally had championship for predictions, but I lost those. So before I end off, I'm gonna read the playoff standings as they are right now. So just I'll need a second to load the app up. So I said prior that William Byron has locked himself into the round of 8. So as the playoff standings are right now. Oh, actually, I was wrong. Larson's point plus 2 above the cut line. It's William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Larson that are above the cut line. Larson and Keselowski being about a cusp above, with Keselowski plus 8 and Larson plus 2. Then below the cut line, it's Bubba Wallace below 2, Tyler Reddick minus 3, Ryan Blaney minus 11, and Kyle Busch minus 17 after Busch crashed out at Texas this weekend. And the next race of the playoff round of 12 will be Talladega. With Talladega this weekend, it will be the only super speedway race that's on the playoff calendar. And a lot of shakeups. Could there be a new winner? Could there be someone locking themselves in? We don't know. Talladega is always the track where you gotta shake and bake. And so, yeah, the good part about the Tuesday slides that I'm able to get this news out to you guys as fast as I can, right? Almost at least 48 hours after a race, rather than at the end of the week where I have to cram in all my predictions. But I think it's really great that I'm able to do this earlier in the week rather than on Friday where I'm scrambling all my notes, and I'm able to get the information more fresher and a lot quicker. So hopefully next week I'll have a name that will complement the podcast, and I'll discuss the news from Talladega. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you all had a great summer, and I look forward to delivering the news to all of you this semester.